Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Happy Waitangi Day. Yes, it is the 6th of February right here in New Zealand. It's exactly 8 a.m. and we are here for
It's 7:45.
Yes, it's 7:45. Here you go. That shows you that I don't know how to read time. Anyway, we're a little bit ahead of time, but there's a lot to cover today. So, this is the NZ Travel Show. We're going to be talking about Waitangi Day. We're going to be talking about the New Zealand border opening. We're going to take all your questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, welcome on board. My name is Robin, and this is Laura. We're the team behind NZ Pocket Guide, and usually she does an introduction, so let her do that first.
Okay, so like Robin mentioned, we are the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. It literally has thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan the perfect trip to New Zealand, which, hey, now you can start planning because those border announcements have been made. So now's the time to start planning an awesome trip to New Zealand, which you can do for absolutely free on nzpocketguide.com. But if you're not really into reading, that's what this live session or live show is for. We take all your questions to do with traveling in New Zealand on the live chat, so ask away. And if you do miss the live show, you can always put your questions in the comments section of any of our YouTube videos. We'll either reply straight away or pull those questions together.
I can feel like it's earlier than usual right here. We haven't had a cup of coffee. You can definitely tell.
Yeah, so we pull all those questions We can answer those questions for you straight away, or we'll pull those together and answer some of those during the live show as well. So ask your questions, guys. We are here to help.
And while Laura takes a deep breath, I'm going to start reading the first few comments and then we'll dive right into Waitangi Day. Okay, so we already have Tamo in the live chat that says, somehow I thought there won't be a live session today. You know there was one. And he says, I already had some Vanatalin. If you guys don't know what Vanatalin is, it is a type of alcohol from Estonia where Tamo is from. Tamo is one of our lovely Patreon. All right, so while everybody's getting warmed up, today is Waitangi Day in New Zealand. It is one of the New Zealand public holiday, actually one of the most popular New Zealand public holiday, and it has a lot to do between, with the relationship between the UK and the local indigenous people of New Zealand, which are the Maoris. So, Laura, tell us a little bit about Waitangi Day. What is it? Give us some dates as well. I know you're great with dates.
So Waitangi Day marks the day on the 6th of February in 1840 where the Treaty of Waitangi was signed in New Zealand. Now this treaty is a treaty signed between several Maori chiefs and the British Crown to basically form the nation of New Zealand. Now this day is seen as a celebration to some, not so much of a celebration to others. It's quite a controversial subject to do with how the translations of the Treaty of Waitangi were made, with different meanings in Te Reo Maori to which is the Maori language, compared to the British translation or the English translation of the Treaty of Waitangi. So there's a lot of controversy and stuff to basically find out more about for the Treaty of Waitangi. But that's what basically the 6th of February is to celebrate that forming of the New Zealand nation. And but the big celebration for it is that it's a national public holiday,
long weekend
in New Zealand. And although the public holiday isn't observed actually on the 6th this year because it falls on the Sunday, that public holiday is actually pushed till the following Monday, tomorrow, and that just gives everyone a long weekend and everyone's happy.
Yes. So if you want to learn more about Waitangi, there is a fantastic exhibit in the Te Papa Museum in Wellington, and there is obviously a fantastic museum and place to visit in the town of Waitangi, which is not too far from Pahia in the Bay of Island, all the way in the north of New Zealand. And in there is the Waitangi Treaty Grounds, which is literally where the treaty was signed, and there's a whole museum there, and you can learn everything about the controversies and everything there. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, so going back to the live chat, we have Derek Anderson that says, I love your show. Happy Waitangi Day. Hey, thank you very much, mate. He says, I'm trying to figure out what phase I will be in, visiting from the USA with a USA passport just for tourism, fully vaccinated and boosted. Derek from Chicago, USA. Ooh la la. fan of the Chicago Bulls over there. Okay, so Derek, from our understanding, you will be in stage 4, which is kicking in before or no later than July 2022. That's the wording that we heard. So no later that July 2022 is what the Prime Minister said. But yeah, that's our understanding. You obviously may want to check with Immigration New Zealand to make sure that what we're saying is correct. We're not immigration advisors, so obviously always fact check like this kind of information, especially from two talking head from YouTube. But yeah, our understanding is that you are on stage 4. So that includes all Australian and all other visitors and business travelers. We can normally enter New Zealand without a visa, and as you are from the USA, there is no visa requirement. You just need to get an NZETA. But yeah, if you want more information about all that, you can head to nzpocketguide.com as well, and there's a ton of info for you. Is the quality still doing well for you guys, by the way? Just letting us know, because internet has been on and off a little bit at the moment, so let us know. Moving on to Tamo. Tamo says he's sober. Yeah, okay, I'm doubting that. Moving on to Kadiza. What is Kadiza saying? Kadiza, you were here in our last live session, let's say 2 days ago, weren't you? I think I remember your name. Kadiza, welcome back.
So Khadisa says, I want to go with a partnership visa. It's step 5. Step 5 is much too late for me. Can I come? Which apply right now for me. Kindly help me, please.
Well, I mean, we can't really change the dates, right? So if you want to apply for a partnership visa and you haven't applied just yet, well, then we understand that it will be stage 5. Hopefully, we're making a mistake, so you may want to contact Immigration New Zealand and see if there is something that applies to you and can get you into New Zealand earlier than that. But we do not have any power or ability to change when are the different steps and how they're, to change them. So yeah, and also we are not registered immigration advisor. So in New Zealand there is a law that says that if you're not a registered immigration advisor, you do not have the right to give personal immigration advice to people. So we wouldn't be able to tell you this is a different path for you in any case. Anyway, it's against like the rules. We couldn't do that. So yeah. What is Derek saying?
Derek says, thanks. I'm looking at August, so that works. And yes, go Bulls!
So August should work for you. Obviously, make sure that you do have a backup plan in case things change again. But we really understand that things are kind of set in stone now in New Zealand, and that may be kind of the stage where New Zealand can finally kind of start living with the virus, and basically kind of like, we are opening now. It's time. And Khadija is confirming that, yes, she was there on the previous one. So yeah, awesome. I have a memory that works. I'm happy. Nice. I'm not that old yet. Okay, guys, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to quickly recap all the different steps of this latest border announcement, just so we're all on the same page, and then we are going to keep on taking your questions. So feel free to go nuts in the live chat where Laura tells us about all the different stages of this border opening.
Okay, so the different stages of the border opening. The first thing that you need to be aware of, these stages for the border opening means that the people that they apply to, they can come to New Zealand, but they will still have to self-isolate for a certain amount of time. So keep that in mind for each of the stages that I'm saying. The borders will be open to the selected people said, but that still means there will be a period of self-isolation once you arrive. And
we'll go over this self-isolation a little bit later, and we will explain to you exactly what self-isolation means.
Yeah, so starting with phase number 1, which will happen on the 27th of February, self-isolation will open for New Zealanders and eligible travellers coming from Australia. And then phase number 2, stage number 2, will happen on the 13th of March, and the borders will open to New Zealanders and eligible travellers from the rest of the world. Also, it will be open to skilled workers earning at least 1.5 times the median wage, and the borders...
I'm just going to cut you right here. Yeah. The median wage currently in New Zealand is $27 an hour. So 1.5 times the median wage is $40.50 an hour. That will be the minimum you need to earn in order to qualify for this stage of the border reopening. Back to Laura.
And the final group that phase 2 applies to for the borders opening are to people on a working holiday visa. So that's starting from the 13th of March. Then on phase 3, we have the 12th of April. The borders will be opening to offshore temporary visa holders who still meet their visa requirements. Also applies to 5,000 international students. There's also consideration of further class exemptions for critical workforces that don't meet the 1.5 times the median wage test. Then we have stage 4 of the borders opening, which is by July at the latest. And that applies to anyone from Australia, anyone from a visa waiver travel country. So a visa, we can go through a list of which those visa waiver countries are, but there is a list on Immigration New Zealand's website, as well as on nzpocketguide.com. So if you're from a visa waiver country, it'll be open to you. If you have a new accredited employer work visa, the borders are open to you, and the skilled worker exemption will be phased out. And then finally, stage 5 will happen in October, and that is the border reopening to the rest of the world, and all visa categories will fully reopen.
All right, guys, so this is basically all the different stages of the announcement, and we will go over a couple of clarification. We will list all the different visa waiver countries, and we will talk to you guys about self-isolation, because each of those steps still require self-isolation. Let me make that really clear. None of those steps just yet waive the self-isolation of 7 days. And there is some strong signs that this may be waived around the step 4 around July. Step 4 around July. So there is some strong hints about that, but this has not been announced just yet. Going back to some questions before we move on to the next stage right here. Khadija says, thank you for remembering me. I'm from Bangladesh. Oh, well, Khadija, we tend to like to remember people that come back regularly. Werner B saying, is Immigration New Zealand the only most accurate source of information? Well, yeah, that's getting information straight away from the source, right? They are basically coordinating with other government organizations in order to get basically all those regulations into a policy that is enforceable at the border. That's basically what they do, right? So the best way to get an information is to get it straight away from the source. And that's what we try to do on this channel, right? We mostly just read from the Immigration New Zealand website or from official government website. And then we kind of clarify it for you a little bit here. But we always going to refer you to the source and to contacting the source. There is so many people which are just spreading misinformation and just kind of misinterpreting some facts and making bigger headlines because that's really clickbait. We really try not to do that on this channel. So that's why we always refer you to Immigration New Zealand.
And also for Immigration New Zealand, obviously we're getting a lot of questions from people who have very specific visas or very specific case. And for those people, it's always much better to sort of to make sure that they double check their circumstance with Immigration New Zealand, because not everyone is in the same boat. Not everyone has the same visas or, the same thing happening. So it's always good to actually go to Immigration New Zealand just to confirm for your actual case as well. All
right. So we have Ashwadan that says, good thing there is no more MIQ. The vouchers are expensive. So, that means that if you are, so basically, all of those stages that we're talking about, if you are vaccinated, you don't go into MIQ, but you still need to self-isolate. And if you're coming in New Zealand just as a visitor, you will still have to, work with a hotel or accommodation or isolation provider, and that's still going to come at a cost. It will be less than what MIQ used to cost, but it's still going to be somewhat of a cost. Yeah. So keep that in mind when planning your trip.
And MIQ will still apply to those who are unvaccinated. So if you don't have your vaccinations, or you don't meet the health requirements, the other health requirements listed out by the New Zealand government, then you would still have to go into an MIQ facility. But basically everyone who is vaccinated can self-isolate.
And guys, while we are going through this live session, make sure to check out the poll that we have for you in the live chat right now, and it asks you which stage of the border reopening applies to you, and that's quite interesting for us to hear that. So there is only 8 votes in there, so if you kind of want to check that out, that'd be fun. All right, so before we continue with your questions, we're going to talk a little bit about self-isolation because that's a big topic right here. So again, just to make it really clear, every stages of the New Zealand border opening will incur self-isolation of 7 days. For stage 1, it's 10 days, but most people here are going to be looking at other stages. This may be phased out depending on how much Omicron spread around the community and how much of an impact this will have to the overall number of cases in the country. There have been several announcements from, for example, Mr. Chris Hipkins, which is the COVID-19 response minister, which has said that this self-isolation requirement is not going to last forever. And there is all other sources, but again, nothing has been official, so that's why we don't want to talk about that too much. But right now, self-isolation still apply. So what does self-isolation means for anyone from stage 1 to 5? What does it mean?
Okay, so this is taken from covid19.govt.nz, which is the official government website for everything to do with the COVID-19 pandemic in New Zealand. And this is what self-isolation is, this is what they state that it is. So self-isolation is only available for fully vaccinated travellers who are eligible to enter New Zealand. Travellers will self-isolate for 10 days if New Zealand's self-isolation period changes, such as drops to 7 days. The self-isolation period for travellers will also change.
I'm just going to bump in right here. It is scheduled to change to 7 days, just about when the stage 2 is going to kick in. So just so you know, right now they're talking about 10 days because it currently is 10 days as we speak right now in New Zealand, but by stage 2 it will be 7 days.
Yeah. Travellers will be provided with 3 rapid antigen tests at the airport, 1 for the use on day 0 or day 1, and 1 for the use on day 5 or 6, and with 1 extra for backup. Anyone who tests positive will need to take a PCR test at a community testing centre or a GP.
All right, so that's basically all the information we currently have on self-isolation. There is going to be more information released as we get closer to the date. Again, this is super fresh news, right? We're talking about only a handful of days since the announcement was made, so not everything is perfectly in place just yet, but this is what we have about self-isolation at the moment. We have Angel Cherry that says, is there a New Zealand job search site I can apply for a job? It's always better to apply for a job in New Zealand when you are in the country. Pretty much never you're going to be getting a job from overseas, or you have to have amazing qualifications that are unfoundable in New Zealand. I don't know why I say it like that. But if you want some sort of backpacker-style, casual, seasonal jobs in New Zealand, you may want to check out NZPocketGuide.com. I know it's our own website, but I'm going to quickly show you this right here. Boom. Let me just transfer this one. Nice. And you go on work in New Zealand right here, and you click on job search tips right here, and this should load at some point and show us some job. But it's quite slow right now because we're live. No, not job search tip. My bad. Job listings right here. Here you go. It's live, guys. As I said, we are not fresh this morning, and I don't know why. We really need to pep up a little bit. But right now we have 1,665 jobs live on the site, so you're more than welcome to check those one in. Other websites that you can find are TradeMe, for example, and Seek. So TradeMe or Seek are also 2 more generic. The one I just showed you on screen right now was really just for more like seasonal and travelers jobs. Okay, Anthony Comstock, one of our lovely Patreon. What is it Anthony saying?
Anthony says Morena from Rodeo, California.
And what does Morena means?
It means good morning in the Maori language.
Okay, we have Vishanvi that says, what about international students? Any updates?
Yes, there have been some updates for the borders opening for international students. The first update, so there's 2 sections of the phasing of the borders opening that would apply to international students. The first phase will be happening on the 12th of April, where 5,000 international students will be allowed to come into New Zealand to study for semester 2. That obviously only applies to a select hand of international students, but that's the first bit. And then from October 2022, the students will be allowed to come into New Zealand with a student visa, and that applies to basically all types of student visas for people that already don't for people that don't have their student visa just yet, you'll be able to start coming into New Zealand from October.
All right. Nathan says, "Kia ora, Robin and Laura. Sorry, I'm a bit late. You're not late, mate. We
started early.
Yeah, we started 15 minutes early. We did a cheeky start 15 minutes early, so we can cheekily finish 15 minutes early, just because we've been cheeky today." Angel Cherry says, "I have no ties in New Zealand, but I am a skilled labor who deals with the installation of car stereo and sound system and wish to work in New Zealand. How do I go about it?" The best way to figure out this kind of path for wanting to come to New Zealand is to head to immigration.govt.nz. So it's immigration.govt.nz. That's the official immigration website. And on there is many different tools to help you figure out what's your best path into immigrating into New Zealand. And from there, you'll be able to start doing the paperwork, start doing all the process, start gathering all the paperwork that you need, and make that dream a reality if you are eligible to do so.
Yes. And finding a job in New Zealand is always easier. It's a very easy thing to do once you arrive in New Zealand because there's so much there's so much demand for workers in New Zealand, but as we were trying to just explain to you before, it's always easier to do that once you arrive in New Zealand, and then you can do a combination of, doing online applications as well as going face to face to certain to places of work. We do have a video on this channel, which is how to find a job quickly in New Zealand. So go check out that video, which gives really a ton of tips on how to find a job in New Zealand. So that should be useful to you, Angel Cherry.
All right. We have Adil that says, "Kia ora, Robin and Laura." Kia ora.
Kia ora.
We have BJN that's speaking to Angel Cherry and says, "Yes, the answer to your question is yes." I am not sure what this is referring to, so they're having a conversation together. Nathan says, "Do you do anything for Waitangi Day?" Well, it's not really barbecue weather, is it, at the moment? It's pouring down with rain at the moment in New Zealand. So sadly, usually Waitangi Day is it's kind of almost your last big gathering of summer. That's usually what it is in New Zealand, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you usually do your last big barbecue with all your mates, but it's not really happening today. So I think it's going to be a long day of just driving for us, I guess.
Our favourite thing that we've actually done for Waitangi Day we have got it on video on YouTube, so if you guys want to check it out. But one of our favourite experiences for Waitangi Day was going to O'Kane's Bay, near the town of Akaroa Christchurch in the South Island, and we went to a whole Waitangi Day celebration, which had some amazing Maori cultural performances. It had a ceremony for Waitangi Day, and followed by a hangi meal, which is like a underground oven meal that is like traditional type of Maori cooking. So yeah, that's been it's really awesome if you can get to one of those sort of big events. They also have big events in other towns around the country, but particularly at the Waitangi Treaty Grounds in the Bay of Islands and at O'Kane's Bay near Akaroa on the South Island. It's really awesome to get to one of those sort of big events.
It's really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a couple of our Patreons now. Awesome Patreons. We have Natasha Rodriguez that says, "Hello, everyone. I'm only here for a little while today."
That's okay.
She doesn't like us for 2 hours today, just a little while. But that's all good, Natasha. And the Patreon live session as well is going to be a little short, starting a little bit earlier as well. So here you go. Happy times. We have DJ Clay right here, which is talking to BJN and asks, "Why are you always yelling?" Yes, BJN, why are you always typing in all capital letters? Because it feels... from our side, right? Because we just read the text, it feels that it's yelling. So it's not. You're more than welcome to type in not capital letter, and so like that, it matches everybody else. Okay, Orson. What is Orson saying?
Orson says, "Hi, Laura and Robin. Hope you are doing well."
I hope you're doing well too. Are you in, I think if I remember, you're in Turkey. Is that correct, or am I wrong? I think I remember correctly. Moving on.
So they ask, "When do you think that the working holiday visa applications will start?" Sorry if you've answered this question. I will watch the replay of the live stream.
And yes, he's from Turkey, or he or she's from Turkey. So look at that. Boom! Okay, so the working holiday visas are going to be able to get back into New Zealand on a Sunday, the 13th of March. So it's part of stage 2. However, applications are going to start basically anytime from now to then, or maybe just on that day. So don't plan on being able to get to New Zealand by the 13th of March, but just kind of basically check regularly on the Immigration New Zealand website to see when the working holiday visa applications are going to be accepted. So yeah, it will take a little while for them to kind of kickstart, restart everything. So yeah, it will happen. It is scheduled. We have a date. We just don't know if it's going to be like literally. Well, it's not going to be tomorrow because it's a public holiday, is it? But so yeah, nothing is going to happen until at least Wednesday, just so you know, right? Because on Tuesday then you get back to work and you have to catch up around the water cooler and then maybe after that. But anyway, nothing is going to happen from, let's say, Wednesday. So from Wednesday to the 13th of March, anytime in between then, that may reopen. So yeah, we don't have a real date right here. BJN says, to Robin, you should ask her already and get your show on the road. What should I ask?
I think I know what he's referring to because he comments that in all the videos on the comments.
What is he talking about?
Like, ask her already.
Okay, what is he talking about?
Oh, the thing that he always talks about.
I do not know.
Yes, you do.
No, we do not have an interest in getting married.
No.
Okay, Nathan is saying...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, that's not Nathan. Nathan says, I spend my Waitangi Day every year celebrating my mum's birthday.
Really?
Oh,
Is your
cool.
mum born on Waitangi Day? That's cool. That's a fun birthday.
Extra celebration.
And literally no excuse to forget. If you happen to forget, then really you're in trouble. So it's a double-edged sword right here. You know you're not going to forget, but... yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Okay, so now the next thing I wanted to talk about regarding this border opening right here is the fact that basically pretty much anyone on step 4 will be able to come to New Zealand to travel if they're from a visa waiver country. And a visa waiver country is basically a country that doesn't require a visa to come to New Zealand as a tourist. And there is a list of countries on the Immigration New Zealand website which actually states all those different countries. And Laura is about to go over all of them right now for you guys. So you know if your country is eligible for the stage 4, which will begin no later than July 2022. Over to you, Laura.
All right, hold on to your seats, guys, because this is a long list of countries, all in alphabetical order, so that's always nice. But yeah.
And we're going to zoom on Laura's face as well.
Okay, great.
Go.
Okay, starting with Andorra, Argentina, Austria, Bahrain, Belgium, Brazil, Brunei, Bulgaria, Canada, Chile, Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hong Kong, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, South Korea, Kuwait, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Macau, Malaysia, Malta, Mauritius, Mexico, Monaco, Netherlands, Norway, Oman, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Romania, San Marino, Saudi Arabia, Seychelles, Singapore, Slovak Republic, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States of America, Uruguay, and Vatican City.
Here you go. So those are the list. This is the list of all the countries which are visa waiver countries here with New Zealand. So that means they are eligible for the step 4 beginning no later than July 2022. And yeah, if you want to thank Laura for basically doing the announcer job from the Olympic ceremony right here,
Yeah.
which, was like, what, yesterday? Did you guys watch it, by the way, or not? The Winter Olympic ceremony. Anyway, yeah, if you want to thank Laura for all that, click the like button. Be cool, guys. There's 14 of you guys watching. 5 of you haven't clicked like just yet. Do yourself a good karma boost by clicking on there. All right, we have Putin non-valide says good morning. Oh, I like the emoji.
Good
That is
morning.
nice. How did you put a smiley face on your son? That is really cool.
There is a smiley face sun emoji.
Oh yeah, there is one.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh man. Okay, Spider Meg. What is Spider Meg saying?
Spider Mech says,
Spider Meg.
Kia ora to you two. Well, our border will reopen soon, right? Does that mean that anyone can come here is going to bring with them a heavy package of Omicron?
To be fair, we've already done a pretty good job of having Omicron in our community. Cases are quite up. I don't know if you looked at the latest chart, but yeah, we're doing a good job ourselves. I think we don't need any external help in spreading Omicron at the moment, and so I think it's time for us to. That's my personal opinion, but I think it's time for us to start being able to live with the virus, and it looks like the government policy reflects that more widespread view at the moment in New Zealand. Putin Non-Valide says, I was wondering about people under an essential skilled work visa currently in New Zealand. When will they be able to move out and coming back into New Zealand?
So I think that would apply to stage 3, which is on the 12th of April, because that applies to offshore temporary visa holders who still meet their visa requirements. So once you go offshore and your essential work visa is still valid once you're offshore, you can still come back. But of course, as we keep on saying on this live show, make sure you do double confirm that with Immigration New Zealand, because of course visas are on a case-by-case basis, and it's always good to just double check that information. But just as a quick answer from us, we think that would be on stage 3, so the 12th of April.
All right, so Clay says, I don't understand what those countries were about. What is the step process? Okay, so just to make it really clear, the list of countries that Laura just read are the visa waiver country with New Zealand. So that means that when coming to New Zealand as a tourist, you don't need a visa. And so or if you are from those countries and you hold a valid passport from those countries, you can come to visit New Zealand for up to 3 months without a visa. Other countries which are not on this list, they have to apply for a tourist visa. And so therefore, they're not eligible for the step 4, which is in July 2022. So that's what we're talking about. Now, you're also asking, what is the step process? So the step process is the latest announcement for the border opening. It was announced that the New Zealand borders will be open in 5 different and distinct steps. And the step 1 is beginning in the 27th of February and will allow Kiwis and New Zealand residents and eligible travelers to come from Australia to New Zealand, and that will be step 1. And it goes step by step all the way to step 5, which is going to begin somewhere in October 2022, where all travelers are going to be eligible to come to New Zealand. Now, this means that if you're not vaccinated, you still have to go to quarantine, and if you are vaccinated, you still have to do the self-isolation. We are pending another announcement to know when self-isolation is going to be waived altogether. Here's a quick recap for Clay. I don't know, maybe it was just cheeky, I'm not sure, but I just decided to do a recap nonetheless.
Knowing Clay, I think he probably asked because he was cheeky. Maybe he's looking for a new drinking game. Now that people,
Which step am I in? That's going to be your new drinking game, Clay.
Putin says, thank you, with a nice little green emoji.
Yeah, nice.
And then we have Ian the bus driver saying, I'm at work, but I wanted to pop in to say hello. Keep up the fantastic work.
Oh, thank you very much, Ian the bus driver.
Where are you driving the bus to today?
Yeah, if you are at work right now, are you currently driving and texting? Because I'd like you to stop right now, right?
Assuming that the bus driver is your job, or maybe it could be your hobby.
It's not a hobby to drive a bus, it's a job.
Well, why not? There's probably people that drive their huge bus motorhomes around New Zealand enjoy that as a hobby.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Nice. I think Ian is somewhere in the US. We had a little bit of a written conversation together.
Yes.
So yeah, welcome to the group. And we have Kiwi Lauren that says, hello guys, I'm excited all this new announcement. Is there any talk at this point of people being able to travel without isolating first? Yes, so there has been a few talks about it. So first up, the Prime Minister during the announcement was asked about that by multiple journalists, and she has strongly hinted at the fact that they're going to be reevaluating the need of self-isolation as we move forward with Omicron. At some point, we're going to reach a certain critical mass with so much Omicron cases in the country, and travelers or no travelers, this is going to happen, that they're going to realize that, isolating new travelers coming into the country is really not going to make a significant difference to the number of cases, and therefore at that point they're going to slowly start phasing it out. Also, Mr. Chris Hipkins, which is the COVID-19 response minister, has also done an interview recently and has stated that self-isolation is definitely not going to last forever. And there is also different lobbying bodies around the country which have had made both some analysis and some advice to the government, saying that basically it's a demand killer for tourism to require people to self-isolate for 7 days. So we are estimating that self-isolation will be phased out on or before July 2022. That's kind of like what we think. Again, that's not official, but yeah, that's where the rumor mill is. And Clay is laughing and say it was genuine this time. Well, I hope that actually I did answer that question well for you, and I hope that basically now you are up to date. But if you have any follow-up, go ahead. Speaking of Clay, if you guys want to join us on Patreon, we have a fantastic team of supporters which are basically making this show happen. YouTube is really doesn't pay the bill, and tourism is pretty dead in New Zealand. So if you feel like financially supporting this show, you can get a massive amount of perks for yourself. Last but not least, or maybe most importantly, our secret Facebook group. We do have a Facebook group where we hang out with our Patreon and we post pretty much every day. It's a lot of fun. You guys can post some questions, and we do also show you a ton of behind the scenes. We also provide you with some PDF guides of New Zealand that we wrote especially for Patreon and nowhere else. We also do extra live session. Every single time we do a live session, we do an extra hour with our Patreon. We will do that today yet again. We also help you with your trip planning. You can send us your itinerary and then we help you out with that. And there is many more perks. So we have a bunch of producers, which are Fabio, Tamo, Beverly, and Clay. And we also have awesome supporters, which are Joey, Anthony, David, Natasha, and obviously the fantastic Fantheist, which is just always so elusive. But yeah, if you feel like stocking up on good karma, try to join us on Patreon. At least check out what we have on offer. It's just there's a link right below. Anyway, let's go back to the live chat and talk to the good people.
Kiwi Lauren says, thanks for explaining. It's tough to take 1 week of a 3-week trip to isolate, but yes, very exciting developments.
I completely agree with you, Kiwi Lauren. I mean, until this self-isolation is removed, or maybe 1 day self-isolation to monitor symptoms, until that is actually solved, I don't think that tourism is going to kickstart again in New Zealand. So, and I think that the whole industry and even the government does understand that. So at this point, we are not seeing really much of a point to do this July 2022 step 4 until you actually decide to remove all the self-isolation. And I think that's also why they put it a little bit so further, because they're planning on actually kind of phasing out the self-isolation first and then reopening that. Anyway, those are just speculation, just making sure that it's clear between you and I, Kiwi Lauren. It's just speculation. When it's official, I will announce it. Okay, what is B+N saying?
B+N says, do you think if our friends or family visit during step 4, they can self-isolate with us at our house and we isolate too? So,
That's kind of is the concept.
Yeah, so what New Zealanders are doing when they return to self-isolate, they are self-isolating in their homes or their family homes. So there will be more information that comes out on exactly what requirements will be needed for travellers coming to New Zealand to self-isolate. But just to give you a quick answer for our opinion, we think that would be acceptable just from the information that we've heard already. So yes, your friends and family should be able to self-isolate at home with you. However, just keep an eye out for more announcements of what self-isolation will exactly entail in the upcoming months. When more information comes out, we will also announce it on this channel. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have the notification bell clicked on, and we can explain further once all that information comes out in a more official form.
All right, Anthony Comstock has a tip for Clay. Just don't drink too much right now. You're going to pass out because yes, there's a lot of questions about the border. Then we have Santiago Sanchez Uscanga, which has a question for Laura. And he says, Hola, todos los veo desde San Blas Nariat, Mexico. Creo pronto venmo en New Zelanda. Animo muchachos.
Well, I'm sorry, amigo, but we do not speak. I only speak English, and Robin speaks French and English, so we cannot answer your question if it's not in those languages.
I don't know what I just said.
Yeah, so sorry. If you can repeat that question in English, that would be very helpful for us.
Hola Mexico.
Yeah.
That's all I can
Hola.
say.
Clay says the home self-isolation idea is horrible. If I get it and the rest of the world and family has as well, then they have to continue 10 days after I get better. Great way to break the bank account with not working.
Yeah, it is a bit tough, but it gives you a lot of really good quality family time. So, yay!
Maybe you could take extra precaution. Once you're in your own home, it's your own rules, right? So maybe you can take extra precautions.
No. Clay has kids, so it's not his own rules.
Lock them in. Lock any family members that are coming back with the possibility of COVID. You could put them in their own room, make sure they never leave, and you just slide them paper-sized food under the door so you never even have to open the door or allow them to open the door. You can take your own safety precautions so that they don't ruin your working day.
All right, for more parenting advice and other tips as such, make sure to hit the like button to thank us for all our hard work and all our fantastic parenting tips here at NZ Pocket Guide. It looks like Clay was happy with his tips anyway.
Yes.
All right, what is Adil saying?
Adil says, what is the latest official news regarding the recovery efforts in Tonga after the disaster that hit the island?
There actually has been quite a lot of international help sent to Tonga, and New Zealand was, I think we were the first one to actually arrive on the island because we have really strong tie with the island, and also because we're pretty close, which is kind of easy. But one of the latest news that has been happening over there is the fact that Tonga was basically COVID free, and with all the help sent over there, with international help going over there, they now have a few cases of COVID-19 over there. But the good news is that they had some good vaccination rates, so they'll be able to weather that quite decently, hopefully. Aside from that, Japan has sent a ship with some help. I know that the US has sent some help as well. Australia, New Zealand, Fiji has sent some help. So there is basically a rotating amount of ship going into the Nuku'alofa harbour, which is the capital of Tonga and the main island in Tongatapu, which is one of the islands that's been hurt the most. And communication has been re-established thanks to Digicel, which is the company over there, doing all cell phone communication. And some repatriation from some of the islands that were completely wiped out were done, and most of the people that were over there's only been 3 deaths over there, but most of the people that were on those islands were actually brought to Tongatapu in some help shelters. So that's basically the information that we kind of have when it comes down to official information for us, like some of our friends and contact over there, since we do run TongaPocketGuide.com, and they are still kind of missing in action. They're not missing in action. We know they're alive and everything, but it's kind of like we're not expecting them to actually take the time to tell us how it is going for them. They do have a lot of work and a lot of rebuilding efforts, so we let them do their thing. We just tell them we're here for them if they do need anything, and you do your thing. You just tell us when you're ready to get back to work, and also when you're ready for help. That's kind of like what the approach that we want to do, and we don't like to overwhelm people with things. All right, what is Kiwi Lauren saying?
Kiwi Lauren says, my Spanish is poor, but I can understand the message a little bit. I think he said, hello to everyone from San Blas, Nayarit. I can't pronounce
Nayarit.
Nayarit. MX. I think Mexico. I think we'll see each other in NZ soon. Be happy, guys. Well, if that is the message, that's a very nice message.
That's a lovely message. I like you, Santiago. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Sorry. Anyway, thank you very much for the lovely message right here. That's very nice. I think we got. So we got the translation, the official translation by the man himself, or the man or woman himself.
So Santiago confirms his message, saying, "Hi everybody. Say only hello in Spanish. Very soon I look you over there, muchachos." I look forward to seeing you over there, I guess.
That sounds like a Google Translate right here if I ever see one. And that's why we don't do that. Like, we used to actually just copy and paste the messages that people were sending us in different language and put it on Google Translate and try to actually respond to them. But it's never that great. But it's a very lovely thought, Santiago, and thank you very much for actually taking the time to say hi. A lot of people are just watching and not commenting and everything, so I really do appreciate that. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah, thanks for messaging.
Yes, by the way, there is 18 of you guys and 13 likes. Can we make that even? Can we get those 5 of you guys to kind of like, so we got 18 views, 18 likes. We always like that. My OCD works well. I'm also going to do a quick check on the poll of the day today. So the question today was...
The question was, what step of the New Zealand border opening do you qualify for?
And so far, the leading is step 1 and 2, which is at 37%, which is really awesome. Next up, we have step 5 at 33%. Then we have step 4 at 22% and step 3 at 7%. So yeah, keep on voting. It's quite cool. And again, when we talk about the steps, we talk about the 5 different steps for the New Zealand borders reopening. Laura, do you want to recap them for us?
Of course. So step 1 of the Step 1 of the border reopening is on the 27th of February for self-isolation opening up for New Zealanders and eligible travellers coming from Australia. Then on step 2, on the 13th of March, the borders will be open to New Zealanders and eligible travellers from the rest of the world, as well as skilled workers earning at least 1.5 times the median wage.
The median wage currently in New Zealand is 27 New Zealand dollars per hour. So 1.5 times this median wage would be $40.50 per hour. That would be the minimum required.
And also open to working holiday visa makers. So we also have step 3, which is the 12th of April. The borders will be open to offshore temporary visa holders who still meet their visa requirements. Also open to 5,000 international students. And consideration of further class exemptions for critical workforces that do not meet the 1.5 times the median wage test. Then on step 4 will be happening at the latest by the end of July. That applies to anyone from Australia, anyone from a visa waiver country for visa waiver travel, and anyone with a new accredited employer work visa and the skilled worker exemption will be phased out. And
wait. He also say it also applies to Miss Kiwi Lauren. Here you go. It says that on there. So here's your answer.
If you're from a visa waiver country...
It says that right here. It says that exactly right here.
Step 4,
Yep.
By the end of July at the latest, an official date for that will be set sometime soon.
Yeah. It says Kiwi Lauren literally on the official press release, yes.
And then on the 5th stage is in October, which is the border reopening to the rest of the world, and all visa categories will fully reopen.
All right, so that's all the different steps. I knew you guys needed a recap, so that's what Kiwi Lauren was asking. She was like, I know I'm a visa waiver country, but I can't remember which one. Yeah. To be fair, actually, when the news was happening on the Patreon Facebook group, like let's say you guys were already sharing the news and already asking us to do the live session, because every single time there's an announcement, there's always like, okay, what am I supposed to understand out of that? And you know, we always kind of watch it like multiple times and take some notes and everything before coming live, because yeah, it's always kind of a thick piece of news and it's never really user friendly, to be quite honest. Nathan Bates is saying, if you were going to do a live stream from somewhere different, where would you do it from? Well, we've done it once. We've done a whole live show from the edge of Lake Taupo. That was kind of nice. I think I'd like to do one from outside New Zealand. That'd be a fun thing to do as well. You know, sometimes we do visit some of the South Pacific countries, so that'd be a fun one to do. I'd love to do one from the car, literally kind of on a road trip, like road trip time. That'd be quite fun.
Where do I think?
Yeah, what do you have in mind? Is there anywhere else you'd like to do?
Well, anywhere. With a good internet connection. Yeah, so say anywhere around New Zealand, maybe from the edge of Lake Pukaki, or maybe maybe the top of Mount Cook would be maybe a little bit too cold.
What?
Milford Sound.
I am not sitting for an hour on the top of Mount Cook getting frozen to death.
While we're doing a Milford Sound cruise would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think all the places I think I only choose the places because I know that I couldn't possibly do that because the internet connection would be really terrible.
Yeah.
But, you know, you always want what you can't have. So they're the places that I would like to do a live session from.
Google Done Well by Claire is, I have a human translator next to me on the couch and not far off. So yeah, here you go. He says that Google was like translating it properly. What did Lou say about my Spanish pronunciation? How much was she laughing at that? Sri Lankan. I wonder where he's from.
I couldn't possibly guess. So they say, what about the job opportunities in Napier for purchasing and logistics when I finish postgraduate in the area?
That's really not our area of expertise, mate. We are a travel channel here. We're here to talk about traveling in New Zealand mostly. So we dabble a little bit into the working holiday visa and these kind of things. But like when it comes down to job opportunities and everything like that, you may want to check out what is currently on offer on popular job search websites such as Trade Me and Seek. What is Kiwi Lauren has to say?
She says, I found it, step 4.
Woohoo!
I feel like a big deal with my name mentioned in the official document. Pics and didn't happen, Robin.
No, I promise it was in the press release. It was in the press release, promise. No, just trust me. You don't need. And nowadays, with the state of news nowadays, anyway, do you really need fact checking and proof? Honestly, there is no fact check or proofs anywhere nowadays in news media. So no, it did happen, and I'm just gonna argue that it did, even if it didn't. Here you go. That's official news right here.
In news media nowadays, there's usually like an embed of someone's tweet on social media.
Exactly.
Like Kiwi Lauren said that they could come at this time, so that is the news. And
If a random talking head on the internet said so, that means it's actually news.
Yeah.
There you go. But no, joke aside, no, that was not the case. It was not on there, and we only read the official blah blah blah, official stuff.
Do you really feel you need to say that?
Sometimes I have to spell things out on this channel, so I just make sure that I have to say it sometimes. So that's it.
Natasha has the big googly eyes emoji going on there.
Yes, it says Natasha 2 on the press release. Promise, it says Natasha 2.
Clay says that we should do the live show from Lawrence, the first town with free Wi-Fi.
Here you go.
Wow.
But usually free Wi-Fi doesn't really mean good Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You know, guys, that we're struggling with the quality of the live stream at the moment. So,
and that's connected to, actual broadband in our home, and
Yeah.
we still struggle now. But fibre is on its way.
I have an announcement about that coming up soon. I will do that during the Patreon live session, literally after this one. So yeah, you guys hang on tight. I know you have a stake into the getting us Wi-Fi because you're basically helping us pay for it. So you will know things very shortly.
Jarrow R has an interesting question. They say, what is the most underrated city in New Zealand?
Ooh, should we pick one each?
Underrated, sure.
Okay, do you want to go first or should I go first?
I will go first. However, it's not classified as a city, it's more of a town.
Yeah, I think Jarro, if that's okay with you, we're going to allow ourselves to pick towns because in New Zealand there's more towns than there are cities. But yeah.
Yeah, so I would pick perhaps Hokitika on the west coast of the South Island. Hokitika is a really cool little town, which is actually kind of its slogan. And yeah, there's so much to do there. In the town itself, you have heaps of things to see. You can see greenstone carving, like free carving studios where you can go and watch people carving greenstone, which is part of the sort of like culture, the Maori culture of the South Island. There's also there's also really amazing natural attractions around the town, such as Hokitika Gorge with its beautiful blue pools, and not too far from Franz Josef, for instance. You also have some really odd museums there. So you have the sock museum.
That shocked you so much. That marked you so much, this sock museum.
The sock museum.
Who does a museum about sock and sock making? Honestly, who wakes up in the morning and say this is
a need.
This is museum a need. Ooh, is that a pun?
Oh, yes, it is. No, you don't need knit.
Knit. It is a knit. Oh, that was terrible.
That was bad. Anyway, so yeah, and also they have like a glass blowing studio there, and all of that in a little really nice little town. But then it's also on the beach where the locals have made lots of lovely driftwood art on the beach, and it's one of the best places to watch the sunset in New Zealand. So that town is...
Wow, she has a lot to say about Hokitika.
It's pretty awesome. It's underrated. Not many people have it as a spot to go visit. They usually pass it when they're going between, Greymouth and Franz Josef. But Hokitika is pretty cool, and I suggest staying there for a little bit.
Actually, I should have, and I feel terrible about it, I should have put the New Zealand map right here.
Yes.
Yeah, here you go. Hokitika is going to be... Let me just sort it out. I'll put it on the screen for you. Here you go. Let me put your Hokitika right here. And boom. Here's Hokitika. So for me, myself and I will choose another underrated town. And actually, I think I'm not going to pick a town. I'm going to pick Invercargill. I'm going to pick a city because you ask a city. So I think that one of us one of us should give you an actual
An
city.
actual city, yeah.
I actually don't even think I have Invercargill on that list.
That's how underrated it is.
I don't even have it as a point to... Oh, yes, I do. Here you go. Invercargill. So I'm going to pick Invercargill for you, just because I think that a lot of people kind of dish on Invercargill, and I'm not really nice about Invercargill, but I think it's a very lovely town, lovely city.
Place on the map.
It's not... where did I put Invercargill? Oh, yeah. Definitely not there. Definitely not there. Definitely.
It is the southernmost city in New Zealand.
But it's not that southern.
But it's not that southern.
Let's just move it a little bit, guys. I'm going to move Invercargill. Anyway, it's a really cool place because it's a great base to explore a lot of awesome spots around the South Island. Is that better right now?
Yeah, we'll accept that.
Okay, cool. So it's a good place to explore a lot of stuff. You have a great access to the Southern Fjorden National Park, which is an amazing place to explore if you are into the outdoors. And surely Laura and I are surely very much into that. It's also a fantastic place to head to Stewart Island, which is absolutely amazing. It's a bird paradise. There is amazing surfing spots, believe it or not, nearby the South Island of New Zealand, the south of the South Island of New Zealand. So if you're into surfing, there's really awesome stuff to do there. You also have amazing beaches around. Even if you're not into surfing, there's pebble beaches, which are really, really awesome. And there is some fantastic cave networks nearby as well around the Clifton Caves, which are so worth exploring too. So I had to pick a city because you asked a city. I decided to pick a city. I changed my mind halfway through when you were talking. I was like, I'm going to pick a city.
Yeah.
So I will pick Invercargill as an underrated city. And obviously some of the locals right now, such as Clay, are going to dish out a lot of mockeries, but I still stand by my word. I think Invercargill is a cool place. I did really like this question, Jaro, so I really want to thank you. That's been way too long that we haven't talked about actually traveling in New Zealand. So Jaro R, you are my favorite nickname of the day. I usually pick a favorite nickname. I give you the award not because of the nickname, but because that was a fantastic question. Here we go.
While I'm reading more of the live chat, Robin can change the position of Invercargill more towards the right-hand side because it is really, really off. Okay, let's go with Extreme Talautes here saying Morena, which is good morning in the indigenous language of New Zealand, which is Te Reo Maori, sorry. We have Kiwi Lauren saying, I thought you said you should do the live stream from Lawrence. And I was like, come on over. It's a bit
Start baking the scones.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long flight and it's minus 30 today, but by Monday it's supposed to be 2 degrees Celsius. Oh, that sounds nice and toasty, Lauren.
Okay, I fixed Invercargill, guys. I just want to let you know that I'm working with something which is
tiny.
I'm working with something about that size on the screen, which is further away from my arm. So I'm really not seeing too much, just so you're aware. Just because we have so many different things on the screen. So this is how the mistake happens. I apologize for that, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, that's
all right,
Robin. We have Namdi Gabriel saying the stage 5 border opening. Does it mean that all visa applications opens the same in October? And when are you going to have the show about? And when are you going to have a show about essential work visa?
Okay, so just to answer your last part of the question, we're never going to have a show about the essential work visa just because we're not immigration advisor and this is not what we do here. We're mostly a travel channel, so we'll talk about traveling. Now, for the first part of your question, in stage 5, basically Immigration New Zealand plans to be back at full speed processing visas. So they're probably going to get started a little bit earlier than that, but to get back into the groove of things and get back to normal cruising speed, it is planned to be around stage 5, yes. Okay, Clay, what is Clay saying?
Clay says Milton is the underrated town. Even their town slogan is the town of opportunities.
Look at us, something may one day happen here.
Clay is obsessed with Milton.
Yes, I know. Are you from Milton? Do you have some family from? What's the connection?
Are you the secret marketing agent?
No,
it's
just he has something to do with Milton that we haven't uncovered just yet. There is this Clay mystery, Are you the official? Oh, maybe Milton, the official town of DJ Clay.
Perhaps.
There you go. By the way, Tamo is still waiting for your song recommendation. Let's not forget about that. Santiago says, "Hey Robin, your pronouncing is very good, amigo español. Thanks for speaking." Thanks for patronizing me. I know it wasn't good, but I appreciate the sentiment right here. Milandino Physio is finally back. That's been a long time.
Yeah, they say, hi, finally good news for international students. Hope the decision will not change. we have our fingers crossed. We think this time the announcements are going to stick, and unlike what's happened in the past, the New Zealand government have seemingly said more like they're accepting that that COVID will get into the country and cases will spread, but they are more prepared for that now. Whereas in the past, when new outbreaks have happened and they've changed their plans, that's more because the country wasn't really prepared for a rise in COVID cases. But yeah, with most of New Zealand now fully vaccinated, hopefully, and with this border opening in stages, that means that the health system in New Zealand will be able to deal with anything that happens, COVID related, and they'll have the health facilities available for those people that need it. But yeah, basically it's now safer for the borders to open in New Zealand, and hopefully that means that this time the plans and the stages of those dates when they're going to open will not change.
All right, so we have Hidden a Hammock that says, "Hi team NZ, how are you doing, mate?" And a bunch of emojis right here. And we have Telmo, which is joining us again, and says, "Hi guys, like confirmed."
Nice hair, yeah. Robin the Dolphin. And hi, Laura.
Yes, Laura did give me a new haircut recently. All right, guys, thank you so much for spending an hour hanging out with us, talking about both beautiful, amazing Waitangi Day and also this amazing news about the New Zealand borders reopening. We are kind of done. There's been an hour right now, so thank you so much for asking us all your questions. We're going to be wrapping up the poll as well. Thank you, Laura, for reminding us that. And we move on to our Patreon exclusive live session in only a few minutes. So yeah, I have the results of the poll. What steps of the New Zealand border opening do you qualify for? Number 1 answer was step 1 and 2 with 39% of the votes. Step 5 was the second answer at 25% of the votes. Yes, my phone is going crazy. Step 4, 23% of the vote, and step 3 at 7%. Last wrapping up, we have Clay saying, "I used to DJ at a pub there so often, a lot of mullets and gumboots on the dance floor.
Wow.
I pick on Milton when I feel inverse. I had a hard time." Ooh, I messed up this end. Jaro says, "Thanks for the great answer." You're very welcome, Jaro. Come back regularly asking us good questions like that. I really appreciate you. Anthony says, "Stay safe, but I'm here until the end." And Nathan said, "Have a good day and see you next week." All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And thank you very much to all the Patreon lovers that we have. I will call you Patreon lovers. Here you go. And thank you very much to all of you guys that will actually take a second to go in the description of this video and click on this Patreon link to see what we have to offer. Bye-bye.
See you next time, guys.